So we have the next section, 7.2, which continues with the law of sines. And if you turn your books to this page, which is on page 344, you're going to see that it looks very complicated. You're going to see that you have different cases where you're talking about angles, and you're talking about sides, and you're talking about heights of the triangles. The main thing you want to get from this page is that you have either 0, 1, or 2 triangles, depending upon what's given. I would not go to this page and try to learn it. I think there's way too much information. It can be easily confused. Instead of doing this, all you have to do is apply the right math and understand the math, and your answers will come out. So don't focus on that page. I think the book is overdone on this section. Instead, what I did is I made a little bit of a summary that I think is a little bit clearer, and you're going to see that the law of sines is an ambiguous case. Ambiguous means unclear, meaning it can be either, it can generate triangles that don't exist, it can generate 2 triangles, or it can generate 1 triangle. It's that side-side angle case that we have to be careful with. So there isn't any memorizing on this. One thing you have to remember is sine theta has to be between -1 and 1. If we draw the sine graph, we would see that. And then depending upon what we have for these cases, we're going to have different triangles. And the problems that we have today for homework is you have to write down all the different parts of the solution. So, for example, if you have 2 triangles, you're going to have to write down all 6 angles and all 6 sides. So there is going to be a big emphasis on computation and keeping things nice and orderly for your homework as you go through it. So that's what the directions solve for all solutions mean. So we're going to know that we have 3 cases that we're talking about here, and therefore the math would all come out in terms of the sine theta. So what I want to do is just generate 3 different cases and show you that you can get 3 different answers. And so the 3 cases are these, and you're going to see that you're given similar information. You can't tell what's going on in these problems until you actually do the math and use your law of sines. So I want to do each case and show you that you can do a different answer. So we have, for number 2, angle A, remember uppercase is angle. Angle A equals 30 degrees. Lowercase b, which is the side, equals 40 feet. And side A is equal to 10 feet. And so the question is, go ahead and solve. Now, I don't really have to draw this triangle. I'm going to remember that they pair in the same uppercase and lowercase. So I know that these pair up, and so I want to find out what B is. That's angle B. So I'm going to start with sine of angle B over B equals sine of A over A. I'm going to go ahead and set up all 3 of them just because I can focus on the same thing. You've had practice with this. So in this one, again, I want to solve for B, so sine B over B equals sine A over A. And the last one, sine B over B equals sine A over A. I think so. What? In here? I didn't either. That's why I was confused. Well, I did everything the same, but I didn't see that thing pop up. That's why I didn't know. I mean, I heard I had 4 hours of recording, and then I hit record, and then nothing happened. Well, we'll go see. We'll just run it, and then we'll see what happens. Now, we'll just let it go and pretend that this conversation ever happened. So, we now have these proportions. We want to solve for my B. This is, you don't have to compare these answers with that textbook page. You just want to do the math. So, when I go through here, I'm going to get sine B equals 40 . And you know what? In these first 2 cases, I can pretty much do that pretty quickly without using a calculator because I know the sine of 30 is 1/2. Which means that my sine B here is going to end up as 2. 40 times 1/2 is 20, divided by 10 is 2. Which means there is no solution because, again, you're looking at 1 to -1. And it's outside of that range of answers, which means there's no angle that can yield a 2 for the sine of B. So this would be no solution if you have a test question and you get something like this where you ask for B. You don't leave it blank because I'm going to mark that wrong. You have to put in does not exist. There is no solution. Don't put in 0. Make sure you state that there's no solution. Next one. I know that this is going to end up being equal to 1, which means your B is equal to 90 degrees. Because the sine of 90 equals 1. If the sine of 90 equals 1, I know I don't consider the other case because that's 180 already. It won't make sense subtracting that off of 180 because you'd get 90. But anyway, you wouldn't do that anyway because when you reach that 90, you're done. So that's your 90 degrees. Now again, if it says find all solutions, you would have found this B. So you have your A, you have your B. You'd subtract them from 180 to get your C. And then you'd have to find your side C by using the law of sines again. So you'd have to do it twice. Going to this one, you're going to go ahead and put it in your calculator. And when you do the sine inverse of the answer, you end up with B being approximately 27.13. And if I subtract that off of 180, I'm going to get, or 152.87. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 152.87 and add it to the original A, which is 20. And you're going to see that that's 172.87, which is less than 180 degrees. So there is space left for that third angle. I take this, add it to the original, always the original, and see if you have space left for the third. I do have space, so therefore both of these would be considered answers. Now, if the question is find all solutions, I would have to run 2 scenarios here. This is always going to be the same. I don't have to find these again in the given. I now have my B's, but given this B, I can find out my angle C and then my side C. Given this angle, I could find my angle C and then side C. So I've got some extra calculations to work. That's all you're looking at in this section is basically crunching numbers, running the scenarios, and seeing why law of sines is the ambiguous case.